The border czar, Tom Homan, joins us tonight to talk about Minnesota as well as a number of other issues. And, sir, it's good to have you back on the show. Trump mentioning the Daily Mail reporting from 2020 that Ilhan Omar married her brother to get into the country. This was last week. Take a listen.
Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. They've taken billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. It's a fraud.
You know, I just got advised by a fraud investigator the other day on that. I asked the question, who reviewed the file and says, there was immigration fraud involved. The statute of limitations became an issue in the last 4 years when this was first brought up. Who was president? Who ran DOJ? So pulling the records now, pulling the files, and we're looking at, but this fraud investigator, who I know personally, one of the best fraud investigators in HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, said there's no doubt he reviewed the file. So I'm running that down this week, matter of fact, and we'll see.
Well. Ilhan Omar finds herself in the middle of another investigation. She has been making the national news recently for billions of dollars disappearing through all these tax programs, to now bringing up an older story where apparently she had married her brother to commit immigration fraud to come into the country of the United States of America and falsify her citizenship. Welcome, everybody, back to the CASHLOREN Show, where we defeat the left using just logic and common sense. Ilhan Omar is in the center of another controversy, this time because it appears that she committed immigration fraud, allegedly by trying to come into this country by marrying her brother. She recently claimed online that she has not, but she has also not done anything as far as like suing or showing anything opposed to the evidence. Her marriage document has surfaced recently, showing that allegedly that she did appear to have married her brother, and that's what would be immigration fraud. And if this is the case, and if there is a chance that she committed immigration fraud, and then therefore can have her citizenship revoked, and then be arrested and deported and sent back to her home country of Somalia. I mean, that's Omar Ilhan's own words, right? She is a Somalian girl, and she loves her country of Somalia. You see, there's a big problem here with the immigration into the United States of America. Is these people that come to our country do not want to be a part of our country. They consider their home some other foreign country, not the United States of America, the greatest country that this world has ever known. It is a privilege to come to this country as an immigrant and gain citizenship. That there's nowhere in the world that has more opportunity to have a great life than here in the United States of America. And that's why so many people want to come here, yet virtually nobody ever leaves. You notice that? All these third world hellholes like Somalia, they all come here. How many people do you see leaving America and going back to Somalia? About zero, right? Now we had Joe Biden, who opened up our border, tens of millions of people unvetted coming to our country. We have no idea who they are, who they're from, or what they've done. People like Ilhan Omar and others, and as they're focusing in Minnesota and Somalia, committed all kinds of fraud, allegedly. It seems like they come into this country. And then that is just the start. As a story that it broke last week, is that they're also stealing billions of tax dollars and then sending that money back home to Somalia. They're doing this many different ways through these food programs where they're talking about giving meals to kids, but their meals were never actually, there was no kids. They were just stealing the money. Same thing with SNAP benefits and welfare fraud and government housing. One program after another. The initial thoughts were this was over $1 billion, but now they're saying it's over $8 billion, and that number can go even higher. That's just for starters. Going on, as Tom Homan is about to explain, is also coming in this country through these falsified visas, meaning lying on these documents to gain access to the United States.
It's tremendous that, I mean, and according to the Secretary, Kristi Noem of DHS, she said nearly 50% of the visas are fraudulent in this community. I mean, that would mean that half the Somali refugees are here in some way illegally. What's going to happen? Is something actually going to happen? Are there going to be people stripped of their visas, deported? Are we going to see that?
Absolutely. I mean, those days are over. Thank God President Trump's in the White House. We're going to look at all of them. I mean, we're going to look at those here illegally, of course. We're going to look at those here under a visa or some sort of, immigration process that are criminals. We're going to look at the national security threats. But those who came through a process that weren't properly vetted, who didn't provide documentation, who slipped through the Biden's weak processes on, giving visas and temporary, whether student visas or visitors visas or whatever. We're going the whole gamut. President Trump has instructed us go down.
Facts. Tom Jed Homan is 100% right here in what the Biden administration allowed to happen to our country. So we have no idea who these people are, and we have no idea where they came from. We don't know their criminal records. We don't know their backgrounds. Yet the Joe Biden administration just opened our borders, let tens of millions of people pour into our country, and then they would just have to claim asylum. And they just walk up to Border Patrol or whoever and just say, hey, I need asylum. I'm seeking asylum. And then the Biden administration would fly them throughout our country in the middle of the night, put them in hotels, put them in housing, feed them with your tax dollars, give them driver's licenses, some social security numbers, the works. The amount of fraud that's going to be discovered is absolutely going to shock people when these final numbers come in. Because believe me, we are just now starting to scratch the surface. Just like Tom Homan said with these visas from the Somalis coming into our country, where they were lying on the documents, allegedly just like Ilhan Omar did, to gain access into our country. And then they come here and then they're on our tax dollars for all these federal benefits that your federal tax dollars pay for. This should enrage and frustrate every single American. And then to top that off, they take this money and they send it back home to Somalia. And they do all these fraudulent programs that are supposed to be used to help people. We have some of them here, like they did these meal programs where these are supposed to be meals for children. But the problem was there was no children. They were never actually ever dealt out. They just pocketed the money and then sent it out. And the prosecutions on just that alone is just getting started. Also, another huge fraud was autism. All the Somalis claimed that their kids had autism. And then the federal dollars would come in to pay for all these autisms. But again, just like the food programs, there was no autism. Fraud again. And then finally, over on the housing fraud was the other big scam they did. And a lot of this was done under the guise, one, of COVID. But as we start to connect these dots, we find out that Ilhan Omar helped write and push a lot of this legislation into the COVID-19 programs. And then when it all backfired and she had to go on to the corporate media and explain herself to it, she said, oh, well, it wasn't our fault. We were in a rush because of COVID. And so therefore we just had, get the programs out there. And there was all these third party people that actually abusing the program. And now they're going to jail. See, so everything's okay. No, it's not. Because it all links back to her. She helped write the programs. These are all Somalis that she has been known with, right? Just wait. We're just now getting started to expose all this fraud and corruption that is happening not only in Minnesota, but as many are saying and digging into this deeper, is how much did Ilhan Omar know? How much did Tim Walz know? There's no way that billions of dollars were going into Minnesota and then out to these fraudulent programs and nobody knew about it. In fact, there was whistleblowers, and as it turns out, a lot of these people too were also threatened and warned about this. Folks, what you're going to find out here in the next year is truly going to shock people. I think we're sitting on might be the largest fraud in American history, totaling maybe tens of billions of dollars. And all because they allowed the third world to come into our country without any vetting and any kind of process. So let me know in the comments down below, do you think we need to secure our border, and should all these people that come to our country illegally, should they be deported? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed it, you're here this long, and thank you, make sure you subscribe to the show. And speaking of subscriptions, in most places that you're watching right now, you can subscribe to the show for just a few dollars a month and help support the work that we do. If that sounds interesting to you, click the button below, just like many of these other fine people have.